Lewis Hamilton saying that his critics are not even on my level did not shock Formula One because of arrogance, but because of timing. This was not a driver fresh from victory chest beating the paddock. This was a 7-time world champion saying it after a season with 0 podiums in red. That context changes everything. It did not sound like dominance, it sounded like defense. And in Formula One, when someone that's successful feels the need to defend themselves, it usually means something deeper is happening beneath the surface. That is exactly why Ralf Schumacher's response landed so cleanly. He did not rush to contradict Hamilton, nor did he pile on for attention. He effectively said, yes, Lewis is right about his level. But that does not end the conversation, and that is where the discomfort begins. Schumacher was not attacking Hamilton's past. He was questioning how much of that past can still be used as armor in the present. To understand why this exchange matters, you have to strip away emotion and look at what 2025 actually was. Ferrari did not sign Lewis Hamilton for a gentle transition year. They sold the project as an immediate title challenge. Internally and externally, expectations were sky high. And then reality arrived. No wins, no podiums, 6th in the championship, 86 points behind Charles Leclerc. In Formula One, that gap is not just a statistic. It becomes a narrative whether you like it or not. Schumacher had already warned early on that Hamilton would need time, and that matching the Leclerc immediately was unlikely. At the time, those comments were dismissed as negativity. How those same comments now sound more like foresight than provocation. That gives Schumacher credibility in this moment. He is not reacting to Hamilton's quote emotionally. He is reacting to a season that confirmed many of his concerns. Lewis refusing to engage with critics is understandable. If you have rewritten half the record books of the sport, you naturally feel you have earned authority. And frankly, he has. But Schumacher's point is more subtle than that. He is suggesting that surrounding yourself only with validation, even justified validation, can become dangerous. Not because critics are right, but because they sometimes point towards questions you would rather avoid asking yourself. This is where Schumacher's emphasis on self-reflection becomes important. He's not saying Lewis should doubt his ability. That would be absurd. He's saying that defending your legacy and understanding your performance are two different exercises. One is about identity, the other is about adaptation. Formula One does not care how strong your identity is if your framework no longer fits the conditions. The legacy debate itself shows how brutal this sport can be. Nico Rosberg suggesting that Hamilton's Ferrari year left a scratch on his legacy triggered outrage. But the truth is more nuanced. Expectations were so extreme that anything short of instant success was going to be framed as failure. That does not erase Lewis Hamilton's career, but it absolutely distorts perception in the short term. Formula One has a very short memory when lap times start dropping. Age inevitably gets dragged into the discussion, often lazily. At 41, Hamilton has not suddenly forgotten how to race a car. Reaction times do not disappear overnight. Racecraft does not evaporate. What does change is margin. The sport becomes less forgiving. Recovery takes longer. Every difficult weekend gets interpreted through the lens of, is this the beginning of the end? Ayres comments acknowledge that pressure without weaponizing it. Where Schumacher becomes genuinely interesting is when he shifts the conversation towards 2026. This is not about defending Lewis or criticizing him. It is about fit. The new regulations will create lighter, more reactive cars with active aerodynamics. These cars will change balance constantly within a lap. Schumacher points out that Leclerc thrives in nervous, pointy cars, while Hamilton historically extracts his best performance from stable rear platforms. That is not opinion. That is observable history. From my point of view, this is the real issue Schumacher is exposing. Not ability, not motivation, alignment. You can be the fastest driver in the world, but if the car constantly asks questions that do not match your instincts, performance suffers. That cannot be fixed with confidence alone. It requires design choices, development, direction, and honest internal dialogue. Hamilton's "not on my level" comment makes sense in that light. It was not meant to silence debate. It was meant to protect belief. Lewis knows that once doubt creeps in internally, performance collapses fast. But Schumacher's response suggests that belief without adjustment is not enough. Formula One does not reward emotional resilience alone. It rewards precision, alignment, and evolution. The contrast in tone between the two is fascinating. Hamilton speaks emotionally from identity and legacy. Schumacher speaks clinically from outcomes and patterns. Neither is wrong. They are simply addressing different problems. Lewis is defending who he is. Ralf is questioning how that version of Lewis fits into what Formula One is becoming. Ferrari sit right at the center of this tension. They are entering 2026 desperate for clarity after multiple winless seasons and internal resets. Hamilton's experience only matters if it translates into clear technical direction. Schumach's insistence on reflection mirrors exactly what Ferrari themselves must do if they are serious about moving forward rather than repeating cycles. What stands out to me is that Schumacher does not attack Lewis's comment, even though it would have been easy to generate headlines by doing so. Instead, he reframes it. He accepts Lewis's level, then quietly raises the bar of expectation. That is not rivalry. That is respect with conditions attached. Frustration can either harden a driver or refine them. Schumacher seems to believe the latter will decide Lewis Hamilton's future. The 2026 reset offers a rare clean slate, but clean slates only matter if lessons from the previous chapter are genuinely absorbed rather than emotionally dismissed. This is why I do not see Schumacher's response as harsh criticism. I see it as uncomfortable honesty, delivered at precisely the right moment. He is reminding Lewis that greatness does not come with immunity. Formula One has no loyalty to history. It only responds to relevance. The irony, of course, is that Lewis Hamilton's entire career has been built on adaptation. From McLaren to Mercedes, from regulation shifts to internal battles, his defining strength has always been evolution. That is why Schumacher's words resonate. They are not questioning whether Lewis can adapt. They are challenging whether he is prepared to do it again inside the most complex environment of all. Ferrari magnifies everything. When things go well, it feels mythical. When they go wrong, they feel catastrophic. Lewis is not just adapting to a car, but to culture, politics, expectations, and now an entirely new technical era. No other driver on the grid carries that exact combination of pressure. Ferrari deliver a 2026 car that aligns naturally with Hamilton's strengths. This entire debate will vanish almost instantly. His comment will be remembered as confidence, not defensiveness. Results have an amazing way of turning arrogance into leadership overnight. If they do not, Schumacher's response will age differently, not as provocation, but as early diagnosis, not decline, but misalignment. And misalignment is far harder to fix than criticism. This is why this exchange matters. Lewis Hamilton is not fighting critics. Critics are background noise. He is fighting time, context, and a sport that evolves without mercy. Schumacher understands that because he lived it himself. Schumacher is not tearing down Hamilton's legacy. In a strange way, he is protecting it. Because legacies are not preserved by defending the past, but by adapting to the future. And that is the uncomfortable truth Schumacher has exposed.